All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 different conflict response styles. These are ways that people tend to engage or deal with conflict. So let's begin with going over what they are. The 5 that they are: avoiding, competing, accommodating, compromising, and collaborating. So let's go into each one of those with a little more detail. The first one is avoiding. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of what we expect the term avoiding means. It's that notion that we're not going to try to engage in the conflict. We're going to dodge it. We're going to try not deal with it at all. So it's the act of not dealing with the conflict directly. Problem is that dealing with conflict means if you're not dealing with a conflict, then you're not engaging with the person probably that you're having a conflict. Of course, that isn't unless both people are avoiding the conflict, at which point that's a whole other animal. So there are some pros to avoiding a conflict. Some of the pros are, or one of the pros is that it gives you a chance to actually try to resolve the conflict or come up with a better method in opposed to just jumping in and blurting out whatever. It gives you a chance to think. The next step, though, is that it also does demonstrate the idea that you're not that engaged with the situation. You don't care about the goal. You don't care about the relation. You just don't care about any of it, and just who cares? One of the issues that we do run into is this thing called an avoidance spiral. What happens is you avoid a conflict, right? So when you avoid this conflict, then it keeps going and it gets worse because you didn't deal with it. So what do? You avoid it still. And it continues to get worse and just spirals and spirals out of control until it's just some huge blown up thing that could have been dealt with quickly at the onset. So think about that when you think about avoiding. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so much. The next one, of course, is competing. Competing is the idea of I'm going to get mine. Who cares about you? I care about the goal. I don't care about the relationship that much. I'm more concerned about getting what I need, and we're not worried about you at all. You can just deal with it. The benefit to this, one of the pros to this, is that it can be very good to actually resolve a problem quickly that is necessary to be resolved. For example, someone is sitting on the floor choking. Do you give the Heimlich maneuver or not? If you want to sit there and negotiate the pros and cons of giving the Heimlich maneuver, fine. Meanwhile, the person's turning blue. However, if you're competing, you're just say, look, we're going to do it. Let's do it. Done. Great. The downfall is it can be very detrimental to relationships because you're not engaging. You're not give and take. It's all take, take, take. The next one is accommodating. Accommodating is like the inverse of competing. Instead of me getting everything, me getting everything I want, I make sure you get what you want. I may need something, I may want something, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to accommodate. I'm going to let you have it. I'm doing this because that allows our relationship to engage and be better. So that's what we're working with. It's good about pleasing the others without that. It has benefits. It does help retain the relationship. And if you really don't care about the goal that much, fine. If you really honestly don't care where you're going to dinner, then accommodate and let the competer have where they want to go for dinner. If you do care, you need to deal with it. So it's great for that. The downfall is that it can cause this undertone of competitiveness as everybody has to be better. I'm going to let you have it. No, I'm going to let you have it. No, you can have it. No, you can have it. You can have it. It makes this notion of being nice into a competition. All right. The next step is what we really think about when we think about negotiating. That's compromising. Give a little, get a little. It's the idea of you're going to gain some out of giving up some. It's in negotiating terms, a lot of times it's called a zero-sum negotiation. It's like the idea that we have this finite issue that we can deal with. We have this one little thing, one pool of money, one pie that we can only split so many ways. That's the idea of zero-sum, and that's the basis of compromising. If you can't expand the pool, you can't deal with that, all you can do is compromise. You can give a little, get a little. So it's good as far as being fairly quick. It lets you establish, you don't spend a lot of time working it out like you do in collaborating, which we're going to talk about next. But it can also lead to just a formulaic response. You do this, I'll get that. I'll do this, we get that. All these things. And then you no longer get into discuss and you don't really get into the needs and desires of people. You just like, oh, this is what you want? Fine. You can have this. I'll take it tomorrow. And the last one is collaborating. Collaborating is a notion of we're all going to work together. We're going to try to make life this really great, wonderful thing. Collaborating is like the pinnacle of what mediators believe is the best way to resolve a situation. It satisfies both needs. We get beyond the positions that people offer and we move straight into the interest. We try to make sure that everybody gets everything they need, and we move away from that zero-sum negotiation that here's the fixed pie. We try to expand the pie. We look at the idea of what it is that they need and what can we do for the good for everybody to be able to solve everybody's needs. Seems like the most logical, best way to go about things. And it does help find an integrated solution, something that works well for all parties. The downfall is it takes a lot of time. And if you're not in that big a concern, let's say you really don't care about where you're going to eat, you care a little bit, let's compromise. We'll go to Chinese tonight and we'll go to Mexican tomorrow night. Fine. Instead of like, let's go find a Chinese Mexican fusion restaurant and we'll in somewhere else, which is the collaborating idea. So think about it that way. Collaborating is this like pinnacle thing. And now let's look at this chart to kind of get a feel for how these lay out in the world of things. We have this big circle, right? We have all these bits and pieces and everything on this horizon, everything that runs along this spectrum right here is where we care about the relationship. On this end, we don't care about the relationship. On this end, we do care about the relationship. Here we care about the goal. Here we don't care about the goal. So as we look at this, we can start realizing where these 5 conflict response styles fall into that category. The first one is avoiding. I don't care about the goal and I don't care about the relationship. Let's just stay out of the weeds. We just don't care about it. The next one is accommodating. Again, I don't care about the goal, but I do care about the relationship. So I'm going to do what I can to try to salvage the relationship and keep it together. The next one is competing. Again, this is I care about the goal. I don't care about the relationship. So I'm going to take what I need. Y'all don't get what you want, but that's okay because that's what I want. Then we move into compromising, which is there in the middle, which is the give and take. Ending in, of course, collaborating up in the top where it's the win-win. We're going to work our way out. Collaborating, of course, cares about the outcome and the relationship. Compromising is going to split the difference. I hope that helped you understand conflict response styles a little bit, and we'll see you on the next one.